Hey everybody over here on Patreon. This is a Patreon only, so you won't find this on YouTube. Listen, I'm the real world prepper, first of all. You guys know that. Um, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people say, and I've seen it in comments and in commentary for years. I mean, just my whole life, and I'm sure you have too. Whenever someone, say, willy nilly talks about war and about fighting and about going to war and all of that it entails, there's a lot of people who will say, you don't want that. That's the last thing you want. It's usually people that have been there and done that, people that have been in war, that have seen what that's like in reality. And I'm talking about kinetic, firefight, fisticuff, hand to hand, knife, whatever, real war, real fighting, real killing, real death, real destruction. I may have to move. It's starting to rain. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, and I would say that and I've never been to war. I've not been in the military or anything, and outside of a few high school brawls, I haven't really even been in any fights to amount to anything. That being said, I train in various ways. I'm no expert at anything. Okay, but anyway, that being said, people with experience will tell you the last thing you want to do is actually go to war and be in war. And I believe them. I don't want to be in war. I don't want to go to war. I don't want to see that horror and those atrocities. And I don't want to see that death and destruction. And I don't want to have to be a part of that. And I don't, I just don't. But I believe that's where we're headed. I believe we've got two paths that are ahead of us. If you saw that video that I put out here on Patreon and on YouTube, the little 1-minute video of President Trump when he was saying, the next administration and it might be me. Well, this goes to one thing that I've been thinking, that I have even said in some videos, that is still on the table. Excuse me, whether or not Donald Trump pulls this card or not remains to be seen. But excuse me, I'm burping here. But it's the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act will be followed by martial law and then likely revotes in key states, swing states, held by the military and possible military tribunals. This would get ugly, I mean, to say the least. You guys know this. It would throw us into a war. These people on the left, okay, and I'm not a hard right swinger either, okay? I'm certainly more conservative, okay, but I don't consider myself a Republican. Okay, it is starting to rain. Pause. All right, we're in the garage now. But anyway, okay, so I'm a conservative. I want Donald Trump. Of our choices, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, obviously, I want Donald Trump in office. Yes, I think politics in general is a scam. I think our government is a big piece of crap. The whole thing needs reform, to say the least. The whole thing needs to be dismantled and rebuilt. Now, I think our Constitution is a fairly well-written document. I think our Bill of Rights, the way it was set up and the way it was designed should work for a democratic, for rather a constitutional republic. I was going to say democratic republic, but it's a constitutional republic is what we live in. It's not a democracy. Hang on, let's try to do something here. Okay. But I believe that, all right, so if he pulls this card, the Insurrection Act, the left's going to lose their mind. And whether you know this or not, they have gone and bought a bunch of guns and bought a bunch of ammunition and bought a bunch of supplies, just like patriots and preppers and a lot of conservative people do and have for years. If you'll look at the numbers, there's been record gun sales, and it goes across the aisle, so to speak. So Everybody is preparing for something, for a fight. And if you listen to these people openly, these people on the left that are these talking heads, these pundits, these hell, even people in our houses of government, openly threatening people, telling us conservatives or Trump supporters to tread lightly, to walk lightly, watch your back, these types of things. We're not putting up with your crap anymore. Okay. And we've been largely polite. But this thing's going to pop off. And when it does, we're going to be in war. And Mrs. RWP and myself have had numerous conversations about what that looks like. And about what, just speaking for me and my household, about what that means for me. Who I am. Yes, I have Mrs. RWP. Yes, I have little RWP. But if I'm going to be any kind of a father or husband, or proper American, a friend to my community, a friend to my state, a friend to my country, and doing the right things, then it's my duty to take up arms and to fight this fight if that's where it goes. And I will. I don't want to, but I will. And I fear that's where we're headed. I feel we are. I say fear. I mean, it's not even actually fear. It's just, I guess it's dread, more than anything. I'm not typically a scared guy. Not to say that if all of a sudden it popped off and it were real and bullets are being shot past my head, that I wouldn't piss my pants and be fearful. Maybe I wouldn't be. I don't know. But it's an impending feeling that this is coming. I'd like to know you guys' opinion about this. I know there's not very many of you here on Patreon, and I appreciate those of you that are here. But I'd like to know y'all's opinion. Do you see the same thing? Are you of the same mindset? Would you respond the same as what I just described? I want to know where we stand. I know there's this thing, I've heard about this thing, one of my subscribers on YouTube, and I'm not sure if you're over here, I apologize because I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. Somebody had mentioned something about January 6th, going to the Capitol, the White House rather. If you couldn't go to the White House, go to your state capitol. If you can't go to your state capitol, go to your, whatever your local highest office municipality is, to, as a form of protest, against this stolen election. That's a big deal. This election was stolen. There's no doubt about it. Trump won by a landslide. Like him or not, he won by a landslide. He did. I mean, I'm not just talking points here that you hear on the mainstream news. It happened. And it's literally stolen right from under our eyes. This is, if Trump is half the man he says he is, if he loves America as much as he says he does, and I believe that he does. Do I believe he's the greatest guy ever? No. Do I think he's the most honest and forthright person ever? Not necessarily. Do I believe he loves America? I do. And if he does, if he is who he says he is, he's going to pull this card. That statement at the end of that video, I mean, is that just bravado? Is that just him just talking still? Or is there some meat behind this? He's been awfully quiet, and when he has come out and said something, he sure looks confident. He seems sure of himself. But again, these are some traits that he carries too. Anyway, the bottom line is this. That's either going to happen. That's your one path. The other path is we go down the line of Joe Biden for a temporary period of time, and then Kamala Harris, who's one of the biggest communists, biggest leftists. I mean, she was even named like the most hardcore left-leaning, person in the United States government by her own constituents or her own colleagues. Do we want to go down that path? Either one of them is going to lead to a fight. If Trump pulls this card, the fight's coming very quickly. It's going to come a little slower and in smaller pockets at a time otherwise, if it goes the other way. Because what's going to happen is, as we become socialized and there's bread lines and rations and and rules and sanctions, and you don't own anything anymore. You already don't own anything, really. But when it's obvious and they come around taking it and taking you from it, taking you out of your place, taking you out of, not giving you options, telling you where to go, what to do, when to do it, how to stand, yes, yes, sir, no, sir. How long are we going to put up with that crap? So I'd like to know your opinion. That's mine. I believe we're going to go down that path. And I'll even say this. I kind of want Trump to pull the Insurrection Act. I kind of want him to go ahead and do that, because that's the only path of the two that I foresee that will possibly save this nation and save our Constitution and save our way of life. Possibly. If nothing else, it may at least open the door for us, you and I, the community, the American citizens, to build a system that we want to live in. And if that also includes splitting this son of a gun up and letting all them go there and we go here, or whatever the case is, I'm okay with that too. Because we will not, and cannot sustain on the path we're on. It just can't happen. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for letting me rant, and I'm the Real World Prepper. Share this with folks, or I say share it. I mean, it's on Patreon. Tell your friends to come join me on Patreon. I'd appreciate it. We need to get this message out. You know that YouTube wouldn't put this video on, so I'm not even going to bother. So that's why it's here for you guys. But I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.